Present it.
Yo, good evening. It's your boy with the bay behind me, and I'm with Rico. Well, I'm Rico. My man Nico. Hey, you looking so pristine today. You finna go hit the lick this weekend. You finna go check out some techno DJ.
I'm gonna expand my horizons.
That's right. Expand your experiences and get right. So hey, that's cool. But it's always good to have you back, man. Good to see you after so long. Well, hey, Happy New Year, bro. Happy New Year. Did we? No.
No, we've done two before after the New Year.
Okay, cool. So we're still on schedule. So Nico, since we were already rapping on it before, let's just talk about this because it came up. So given my situation, I literally was had a few dealings before the new year, and it went south, and miraculously I literally received a message before the new year with an apology for for the girl I was talking to briefly, for her misbehavior and spazzing out. And she actually apologized to me, which I completely did not expect in that regard. And knowing her personal situation, she's on a journey for self-reflection and to improve herself, not just from a mental standpoint, but also emotional. She's in therapy and the whole nine. So I completely respect her journey.
Emotional therapy, like with a psychologist there.
Yeah, with groups and individuals. So she was on that journey in regards to, like you said, expanding your horizon. So she's on that path of dealing with possible life traumas, childhood traumas, and whatnot. So I respect that. And I didn't expect the apology. I didn't expect this person to reach out to me because the world we live in now.
How did you feel? What did you think when you say I'm being Rico? Oh, look at me, I'm Rico, and then you get the I don't know how you.
I feel you. So one thing I do. I'll say this about anybody I've known in my life. I know certain people are going to move a certain way. So I know a few people that if they've wronged me, they're going to somewhat apologize. They're going to try to make it right. This girl I didn't know that long, so it was kind of like I was genuinely surprised because people are not apt to taking accountability for their behavior. They're quick to justify it or equate it to something else. So given how we fell out, I didn't expect to get the apology. I was surprised I got the apology because people don't feel they owe others apologies, especially if it's just toss away situations. So I was surprised, but knowing the journey that she's on, especially if she spoke to someone and said, hey, you're talking to somebody weekly and whatnot, and you explain that situation. If she took responsibility and she owned her behavior, she owned what she contributed to that situation. Really, in that situation, she was in the wrong. I'm not trying to say, I only offer one side of the coin, but she was wrong in her behavior. And it just took her about 2 or 3 months to, and maybe some reflection to say, hey, I did wrong that guy. She could have made consolation with it and got herself closure. Like, I'm going to be better next time. But she literally took the opportunity to reach out to me and apologize, which me personally, I'm surprised by that because I know a lot of people right now who I had longer relationships with who we fell out and they're not offering anybody an apology because they're not built that way. They're not built to apologize because it takes self-accountability to apologize. So I was surprised. I was surprised that I got it, but I wasn't surprised by her apologizing to me because I knew that she's on a journey of value and trying to heal herself. So I wasn't surprised it came around. Like, oh wow, I got it. But when I got it, I wasn't surprised that I did get it. Make sense?
So no, I mean it makes sense, but you got a text you didn't expect, so you were surprised.
I was surprised by that.
I mean, anyone would think that, but did you just not care? You didn't I
found it genuine and endearing because I didn't expect the text, but the content of the text, I understood. I expected that. If I was going to get an apology, what was in her text message was completely appropriate. So I didn't think I was going to get the contact, but when I got the contact, what was in the contact was meant to be there, and that's what I respected. It was genuine. It was akin to her journey. A lot of people who say they're in a healing mode it takes a long time for them to get to that point and right their wrongs with people, especially you got to own if you made a mistake. You got to own if you were wrong. So there's the aspect. And I think she got to a point from some self-reflection, maybe talking to others, explaining the situation, how we fell out, that maybe she was confronted with owning her behavior, owning her part of it. And it prompted the fact that I got a contact. After that situation, I delete phone numbers. I delete phone numbers. I don't delete text messages, but I delete phone numbers. And she kept my phone number. She didn't have to do all that. She could have closed the door on that and kept moving, but she didn't. So I for what it was, I deeply respect the fact that she took the time to reach out to me, say what she said, because she wasn't forced to, she didn't have to, but she did take the time and maturity to make it right with someone that she doesn't really know like that. So I was good with that. Like I said, I got people I know right now for years who, right or wrong, they're not apologizing to you because so much of their ego is built in being right or not being wrong. It's not a matter of winning or losing. It's a matter of protecting their ego. I got plenty of people I know like that. So there is that. I got something for you, bro. So in the term of forgiveness, because this is the thread that we're on. Someone does you wrong. Someone does you wrong. They come at you sideways. Are you quick, or does it take you a long time to come to a place where you can forgive that person?
Well, I mean, it's too broad of a statement. I mean, it depends. I've forgiven. I've not forgiven. I've forgiven days later, months later, years later. So, I mean, it really depends on the person. Of course, there's a positive correlation between how bad you screwed up and also my feelings towards it, which, you gotta give me some time at the very least. But besides that, it's not too, how to explain it. To me, it's not just about, so you did me wrong and I forgave you and I kind of let it go. So say I legitimately let it go, whether it's something big or small. I think it's also what you do afterwards. Because a lot of times I can tell you I'm sorry and I don't mean it. I can tell you I'm sorry and I think I mean it.
Oh, okay.
Or I can legitimately like sit down and talk to myself and say, hey, I did this person wrong and I really regret it. I wish I hadn't done it. But then you go on and do it 2 weeks later. So your actual feeling is true. You do regret it. You are sorry.
In the moment,
and you said it in the moment. But as time goes on, it's like, oh, now it's like you're not really sorry. Then you go ahead and do it again, or you break my trust again. So it's not just about the apology, which you do gotta give people credit, because a lot of people have a lot of pride and they'll just not apologize, period. So at least gotta give you credit for that. Number 2 and number 3 is also not the same when when you're sorry when you get caught doing something. Because you're not sorry. I'm not sorry I did it. I'm sorry I got caught. Because if I was sorry I did it, I come up to you and I bring it up and I say, hey, I did this and I'm sorry. So there's also a difference. So I tend to like analyze situations and based on that see how worthy we are of giving this another shot, whether it's a romantic relationship with a friend or a family member. I think a lot comes into account.
Okay. With that, so as you said, you need time to forgive. I take it that you're not someone, you said let it go. Are you one to kind of, once you forgive, you kind of put it behind in your mind and you kind of like, I'm not gonna say forget, but do you put it in a place to where it's not a pertinent memory? Like it's just like, it's not prominent. It's pretty much like, hey, oh yeah, that thing happened and it was what it was. I get it depends on the volume or the depth of how bad the offense might have been, but do you find yourself after, if you've been offended or someone does something to you that's hurtful and you forgive them, you find yourself putting that in a deeper recesses of your mind and not really focusing on it, or can you see somebody and kind of forget bypass it that person did something bad to you?
Well, if it's something super big, then that maybe happened a while ago, I
Okay.
can actually tend to maybe even say, yeah, I mean, I forgot it. But if it's something small that just happened, I mean, not tiny like regular everyday things, but if it's something small that keeps on happening and happening and happening, I'm not really gonna forgive that. But if it's something big that happened a while ago, you never did it again, I can tell you're sorry, it's not gonna happen again. You messed up as a human. It's like that I do forget. But
Okay.
if it's you know what I mean, because
The
you, at the end of the day,
patternized. Okay.
you do respect the other person's feelings. If
Hmm.
you messed up, it was, I mean, I don't want to say a mistake, but you did something that you regret, and you learn from it. It's about learning.
Fair enough.
Pretty much. That's how we sum it up.
Okay. So from what I understand, it's not just the apology, if you get that. It's more along the changed
If you get
behavior.
that.
It's the change and okay. And yeah, the change behavior is very important because if you're still going to interact with that person, given whatever the offense might have been, there has to be some type of expectation of change behavior,
Right.
or
How do
it
I
just
how
can't
do I
be.
forget about it if you keep reminding me? Does that make sense?
Well, all right, reminding. So you can, there's two things in that regard. So a person can keep doing something, can continually offend you, which then basically lends itself to say you weren't sorry, you were circumstantially sorry at the moment to bypass being accountable or being held responsible for you offending me or doing something bad to me. You keep doing it to set a pattern of my acceptance and me becoming, I guess, desensitized to it or pardoning it or allowing it. That's a lot of ways how abuse gets set in. But there's also the adverse to that, where someone who said they forgave you for something, but every time you get in an argument, they throw that in your face.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's in that aspect, did that person really forgive you if every time something comes up that may be related or maybe not even related to that offense, they find themselves tangenting to that instance and basically calling you out, basically characterizing you by maybe the offense or the mistake you made at one point. I think that's both sides of the coin, where it's basically like the forgiveness might not be, the apology might be false, the forgiveness might be false. Make sense? So
No,
yeah.
absolutely, man. And I mean, we all make mistakes. You've made plenty of mistakes, and you'll make more, and so will I.
Mm.
But it's about learning. If it's you can be sorry, you can regret it, blah blah blah. Even if you come up forward and you say it, but
All right.
if the how to explain it, like if your acts just don't really aren't consistent,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not really doing much, because what are you really asking forgiveness for? And going back to your great point that a lot of people, they say they forgave you, but then as soon as they get the chance, they throw it back in your face. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not forgiveness. It's really not. I mean, that whole, oh, I forgive, but I don't forget. I mean, no. When you forgive, you forget. It's just that people like to take it literally. Like, no,
Mm.
to me, well, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
say yes. I mean, I know you did something and I remember it, but I did leave it in the past. Number one, and number two, it comes to me. Like, if you did me wrong
Mm-hmm.
and I forgave you, like I say I forgave you, but I still have some anger towards you, or I have you at dislike that, oh, this person is not to be trusted. That's not really forgiving, because forgiving is about you. I mean, it's about me, because you did me wrong. So it's how I feel about you. I can say I forgave you, and yeah, we can be friends again, whatever. But if I
Mm-hmm.
still have negative feelings towards you,
Uh-huh.
but we still have the same relationship, again, romantic or friendship, or with a family, then I didn't really forgive you, because I do feel the same. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Okay, makes sense. All right, so I'm gonna say this with forgiving and forgetting. So I agree. Forgiveness is more so for the individual who was wrong, coming to a place of center with it, so they can move forward. Whether it be with or without that person or that circumstance going on. The action of forgiving someone else lets them know that you're in control of the circumstance, the situation, and they have received a pardon, they received forgiveness. Now, to forget could put you in a position of repeating or opening yourself up for the offense again. So for me, personally, I forgive quickly because I don't like having that weight on me of someone did me wrong, yada yada yada. I don't like having that weight. For what I was almost, I don't think I've encountered something. Well, one thing that I'm still trying to figure out how to forgive, but for most of my life, I've forgiven people relatively quickly. The worst thing is probably takes me about a month to forget because I move on with my life. But I don't forget anything. I keep everything. I'm an archivist. And the reason why I keep everything is because like you said, to learn. And the easiest way to learn is to learn from the experience, especially if you have very detailed aspects of the experience. So when we said earlier before we got on, like I said, forgiveness does not entail itself to access. Trust me, for those in my life that have wronged me and I've forgiven and I've matured enough to basically say, okay, our relationship is over. You go your way, I go my way. I'm happy for those individuals. I'm proud for those individuals in their triumphs. I weep for them in their hardships, the whole nine. But I do it from a distance. I do it a separation. I don't require them in my life. I don't require their influence. I don't require their resonation around me. I don't require them to be good with me. I don't require their forgiveness. I don't require anything from them. In the interim, I have control over my end of the end of that relationship. So I forgive them so they can be purged. You're out, forgiven, forgiveness, but never forgotten. So that if I notice that type of behavior with somebody else, or if I ever encounter them again, they clearly know that while they are forgiven, because I'm going to be comfortable, I'm not going to feel awkward. They know I don't forget because they know that there's going to be certain lines that are drawn and certain boundaries that we're not going to cross. So those pleasantries, those jokes, those whatever, I'm going to neutrally be like, no, we're not doing that. Why? Because for the offense that you caused me, you're no longer privy to that place. You're no longer privy to that access. You're cool. You're good. Go with God and whatever, but you're not privy to that place. And you know that based on the offense. But I don't mean no ill will against you. That's just what it is. I've come to a place where now, man, I'm almost 40, bro. I will cut off people left and right because it's a lot of energy. For what? One-way friendships, they're pointless, man. But to be offended by anybody, it's like this. If you know somebody who lies and somebody who steals or someone who gets to a point where they get so riled up where they're just like destructive, then once you encounter those situations, if you continue to interact with that person, allow them access, you got to move different. The thief, you got to lock things up, you got to put things away. The liar, you always got to double check the statement. You always got to go to the source, or you just can't believe what they say. Or the person that's ultimately destructive, you just know that you can't have them in your presence. You got to always have them somewhere where it's safe. And for me, when I realized that people, given certain circumstances, certain situations, they revert to their core protected self. I would say in my situation, when someone who will say they love you with the same mouth and tongue that they'll curse you with, and you don't even know if that's the same person, yeah, that's the same person. But you can't trust that type of person or give them access to your deeper feelings because they need to respect your space, they need to respect your boundaries. And if they get in those places of access to where they conduct themselves like that, you can forgive them, but you gotta push them back out the door, man. You gotta you can kind of conduct yourself like that outside, not in my inner sanctum, not in my peace. And I don't care how much I loved you. I don't care how much you say you loved me. I don't care what we had together. I don't care what we built together. I don't care what we tore down together. If you're not good for me, I'll just call a spade. And I might not be good for you. You're forgiven. It's not forgotten. Never be forgotten. And even if you turn you become a new person, you become a whole new person. You're still the same person I remember. So it's going to be what. And that appropriates to me as well. Because, like I said, forgiveness is an action you impart upon someone else. I forgive you. That's me releasing myself. That's me freeing myself. That's me allowing you to be comfortable around me. But that's me being free to be comfortable around you. That's all that matters. But access? No. Forgiveness does not warrant access. Absolutely.
And also, what makes it easier at least for me to provide that forgiveness, is if I consider that you are sorry. So, for example, if you did change, if you did something that I didn't know and you brought it up, and then you never did it again, you know what I mean? So that's also proves me that you are sorry. This is not really who you are, and it's not gonna happen again. So that's way easier for me to forgive you, you know? And also something that a good friend of mine years ago told me, I was still working at Macy's. So she had a roommate and they were paying her rent, right? It was like something little, like $200-300. And it was this girl's best friend, right? So she was telling me. And he just, stopped paying, so, oh, he had a job but didn't want to pay, and started making excuses and wasn't paying rent. I guess got comfortable. So I was like, wait, well, why are you still friends with this guy? Like, why? Like, you is that okay with you? Like, do you forgive him? Like, does he even care? Like, do you even care? Like, do you like have a lot of money or what? So I go, like, what's going on here? Like, I don't get it. A lot of people, you fight, kick them out, and that's it. But she said, no, it's just that we don't have to break our friendship over that, over money, or over whatever it is. She said, it's just that for this that he did, I can't count on you anymore. But the rest is fine. The rest is okay. So we can hang out, we can drink, we can this, we can that, we can get together.
Oh,
but
so
if it comes to this,
it can't be that. So
I'm not thinking about it.
So the dynamics.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
that
it's
makes
that
sense.
partial thing, and I thought that was amazing. I've never heard anyone say it, and she actually does practice it. So I admire that a lot. So I actually had some trouble with a family member once. Again, money related, and I mean I have to deal with them.
Yeah.
So I have to. So whatever. I wanted to give someone a present. I sent someone the money, and they just kind of disappeared. And the other person really didn't give a damn. So
damn.
Money wise, I'm not sending you any money for anything.
Uh-huh.
But if for the rest, it's fine. Like, we'll go out, we'll do this, we'll talk. I can get on the phone with you and whatever, and not think of anything. But if it comes to me giving you any capital for anything, I know it's not going anywhere. And I cannot count on you on that, and I will not. And that conversation, actually, we never had it.
Okay.
So it's just, I feel like that's a great kind of, great area, and it's very positive.
Yeah, I think in that situation, what you explained from the friend that in her situation, she contoured her relationship with that person to basically said that area we won't go in. So all she did was basically siphon off that area. She just kind of cut off that area and said, I'll maintain the rest of the relationship or the friendship. I guess if that works for her, that's fine. I would say that's like something with family. Like, if you got a family member, like, they're going to be in that space, you just choose how you deal with that person if you're going to deal with that person. But when it's mutual arrangements to where I can completely decide that I don't want to have any affiliation with you, then that's a different thing. But I guess people choose how they want to go about that. If that works for her, shoot, that goes with that. Me, when it comes to certain things, money's a big one. Yes, money's a big one, but it's trust and offense. If you offend me, it's respect. It's trust and respect. Once I lose respect for you, because there's respect, indifference, and disrespect. If we have respect for each other, great. If we get to a point where we're indifferent, all right, no respect for you, I got no respect, you got no respect for me, but we're not volatile. That's cool. But when you disrespect me, I just can't do that. I don't care what you got going on. I don't care what your program is. If disrespectfully you put me in a position that's going to hurt me personally, if you insult me directly, call me out my name, say something about my kid or something like that. If you're intentionally disrespectful, I don't care what it is. You short of you being on your deathbed or so intoxicated, and then even then, a drunk tongue speaks a sober mind. In those situations, I have to take everything at face value, and that makes me change the dynamic of, do I really want to associate with this person? But you know, but it's trust and respect. If we get away from respect into disrespect, or I get to a point I really can't trust you, I'm a little bit more flexible with trust because, like I said, the thief, I just know not to trust you around certain things. You know, the liar, I just know not to trust what you say, and I'll check the sources. You know, someone who's, you know, who's unreliable, or I'm gonna show up on time. I just trust to always have a backup, or always come to you secondary or tertiary, and always have somebody, you know, over you. You can be mad about it. The liar can be mad about being a liar, but they a liar. The thief can be mad about being a thief, but if you a thief, you a thief. If you want me to prove it to you, that's on you. But I got to do what's best for me. But if the thief gets disrespectful, or if the liar gets disrespectful, or whatever they orchestrate their way to try to hurt me or my family, no, it's better for me to just completely cut you off and not deal with you at all. Let someone else in your world deal with you than me deal with you. So that's what it comes down to me. Forgiveness for me is easy. It's a process. It's just a boom, boom. Once I validate everything, I put everything in reason, and I'm like, okay, this is what happened. This is what happened. This is how I played my part. That's how this came out. Good. Am I still alive? Am I still moving forward? Perfect. I'm just not moving forward with that person. Cool. Am I really going to miss what they provided? I got to do an assessment, and then I realized that some people that I kept around really weren't worth that much to me and my growth. You know, more than recreation. You know, and then sometimes people become a liability, you know, significant liability. So when I look at things through that lens, I don't feel so bad about cutting people off. They can feel bad about me cutting them off, but you know, when you do the math, it's kind of like, oh, all right, cool. So, but as far as forgiveness, I can forgive like that, but I don't forget nothing. I don't forget nothing because I don't want to retrace these steps. I've done that a couple times already. 2 times, actually 3 times, and I'm never doing that again. I gave people more than the benefit of the doubt. I gave them emotional credit out of my own bank that may not realistically wasn't earned. So I end up having to forgive them, but I have to forgive myself for making that blunder over and over again. And basically, like, look, Rashard, you can only forgive yourself so much. You got to learn from this. Don't repeat this the behavior again. All right, Rick, you cool, but don't do this again, all right? Because if you do it again, then you're not really sorry for doing. You're setting yourself up for failure by choosing poor relationships. You know, for whatever reason, whatever you're getting out of them, stop choosing them. Pick better people. Be a better person. So you don't have to forgive people for poor quality other than mistakes. I'd rather forgive a mistake than forgive bad character traits and personality flaws. Feel me?
Exactly. What do you guys think? Let us know below. That's a drunk tongue speak a sober mind. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, a drunk tongue speaks a sober mind. Great paragraph.
I was sounding drunk when I said that.
Yeah.
Have you forgiven anybody? Forgiven? I don't even know. Am I forgiving myself for making that mistake on camera? I don't know. Has anyone done you wrong? That's a rhetorical question, of course. What did you do about it? Did you regret a mistake you made? Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in with us. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it to all your friends, and have a good one. Thank you, Rico.
All right, Nico. Always, boss.